Which is not feature of OOP in general definitions? A. Code reusability. B. Modularity. C. Duplicate or redundant data. D. Efficient code. Correct answer, C. Duplicate or redundant data is dependent on programmer and hence can't be guaranteed by OOP. Code reusability is done using inheritance. Modularity is supported by using different code files and classes. Codes are more efficient because of features of OOP. Which feature of object-oriented programming, OOP, illustrated the code reusability? A. Polymorphism. B. Abstraction. C. Encapsulation. D. Inheritance. Correct answer, D. Using inheritance, we can reuse the code already written, and also can avoid creation of many new functions, or variables, as that can be done one time and be reused, using classes. When OOP concept did first came into picture? A. 1970s. B. 1980s. C. 1993. D. 1995. Correct answer, A. OOP first came into picture in 1970s by Allen and his team. Later it was used by some programming languages and got implemented successfully. Smalltalk was first language to use pure OOP and followed all rules strictly. Which header file is required in C++ to use OOP? A. iostream.h. B. stio.h. C. steedlib.h. D. OOP can be used without using any header file. Correct answer, D. We need not include any specific header file to use OOP concept in C++. Only specific functions used in code need their respective header files to be included, or classes should be defined if needed. What is default access specifier for data members or member functions declared within a class without any specifier in C++? A. Private. B. Protected. C. Public. D. Depends on compiler. Correct answer, A. The data members and member functions are private by default in C++ classes, if none of the access specifier is used. It is actually made to increase the privacy of data. Size of a class is A. Sum of the size of all the variables declared inside the class. B. Sum of the size of all the variables along with inherited variables in the class. C. Size of the largest size of variable. D. Classes doesn't have any size. Correct answer, D. Classes doesn't have any size. Actually, the size of object of the class can be defined. That is done only when an object is created and its constructor is called. Which syntax for class definition is wrong? A. Class student to. B. Student class to. C. Class student to public, student, int A. D. Class student to student, int A. Correct answer, B. Keyword class should come first. Class name should come after keyword class. Parameterized constructor definition depends on programmer, so it can be left empty also. How many objects can be declared of a specific class in a single program? A. 32,768. B. 127. C. 1. D. As many as you want. Correct answer, D. You can create as many objects of a specific class as you want, provided enough memory is available. How members of an object are accessed? A. Using dot operator or period symbol. B. Using scope resolution operator. C. Using member names directly. D. Using pointer only. Correct answer, A. Using dot operator, after the name of object we can access its members. It is not necessary to use the pointers. We can't use the names directly, because it may be used outside the class. Object declared in main function dash. A. Can be used by any other function. B. Can be used by main function of any other program. C. Can't be used by any other function. D. Can be accessed using scope resolution operator. Correct answer, C. The object declared in main have local scope inside main function only. It can't be used outside main function. Scope resolution operator is used to access globally declared variables of objects. If different properties and functions of a real-world entity is grouped or embedded into a single element, what is it called in OOP language? A. Inheritance. B. Polymorphism. C. Abstraction. D. Encapsulation. Correct answer, D. It is encapsulation, which groups different properties and functions of a real-world entity into single element. Abstraction, on other hand, is hiding of functional or exact working of codes and showing only the things which are required by the user. Which among the following doesn't come under OOP concept? A. Platform independent. B. Data binding. C. Message passing. D. Data hiding. Correct answer, A. Platform independence is not feature of OOP. C++ supports OOP, but it's not a platform-independent language. Platform independence depends on programming language. How many basic features of OOP are required for a programming language to be purely OOP? A. 7. B. 6. C. 5. D. 4. Correct answer, A. There are 7 basic features that define whether a programming language is pure OOP or not. The 4 basic features are inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. Further, 1 is, object use is must, secondly, message passing, and lastly, dynamic binding. Which among the following, for a pure OOP language, is true? A. The language should follow 3 or more features of OOP. B. The language should follow at least 1 feature of OOP. C. The language must follow only 3 features of OOP. D. The language must follow all the rules of OOP. Correct answer, D. The language must follow all the rules of OOP to be called a purely OOP language. Even if a single OOP feature is not followed, then it's known to be a partially OOP language. What do you call the languages that support classes, but not polymorphism? A. Class-based language. B. Procedure-oriented language. C. Object-based language. D. If classes are supported, polymorphism will always be supported. Correct answer, C. The languages which support classes, but doesn't support polymorphism, are known as object-based languages. Polymorphism is such an important feature, that if a language doesn't support this feature, it can't be called as a OOP language. Which type of function among the following shows polymorphism? A. Inline function. B. Virtual function. C. Undefined functions. D. Class member functions. Correct answer, B. Only virtual functions among these can show polymorphism. Class member functions can show polymorphism too, but we should be sure that the same function is being overloaded or is a function of abstract class, or something like this. Since we are not sure about all these, we can't say whether it can show polymorphism or not. Which among the following can show polymorphism? A. Overloading logical or operator. B. Overloading addition assignment operator. C. Overloading insertion operator. D. Overloading logical and operator. Correct answer, C. Only insertion operator can be overloaded among all the given options. And the polymorphism can be illustrated here only if any of these is applicable of being overloaded. Overloading is type of polymorphism. Which feature can be implemented using encapsulation? A. Inheritance. B. Abstraction. C. Polymorphism. D. Overloading. Correct answer, B. Data abstraction can be achieved by using encapsulation. We can hide the operation and structure of actual program from the user, and can show only required information by the user. Encapsulation helps in writing dash classes in Java. A. Mutable. B. Abstract. C. Wrapper. D. Immutable. Correct answer, D. Immutable classes are used for caching purpose generally, and it can be created by making the class as final and making all its members private. Which among the following violates the principle of encapsulation almost always? A. Local variables. B. Global variables. C. Public variables. D. Array variables. Correct answer, B. Global variables almost always violates the principles of encapsulation. Encapsulation says the data should be accessed only by required set of elements. But global variable is accessible everywhere, also it is most prone to changes. It doesn't hide the internal working of program. Using encapsulation data security. A. Not ensured. B. Ensured to some extent. C. Purely ensured. D. Very low. Correct answer, B. The encapsulation can only ensure data security to some extent. If pointer and addresses are misused, it may violate encapsulation. Use of global variables also makes the program vulnerable, hence we can't say that encapsulation gives pure security. Object is dash abstraction. A. Object. B. Logical. C. Real. D. Hypothetical. Correct answer, C. Object is real abstraction, because it actually contains those features of class. It is the implementation of overview given by class. Hence the class is logical abstraction, and its object is real. Which among the following can be viewed as combination of abstraction of data and code? A. Class. B. Object. C. Inheritance. D. Interfaces. Correct answer, B. Object can be viewed as abstraction of data and code. It uses data members and their functioning as data abstraction. Code abstraction as use of object of inbuilt class, using higher degree of abstraction dash. A. May get unsafe. B. May reduce readability. C. Can be safer. D. Can increase vulnerability. Correct answer, C. It will make the code safer. One may think it reduces the readability, but the fact is, it actually helps us understand the code better. We don't have to read the complex code, which is of no use in understanding the program. Pass by address passes the address of object dash, and pass by reference passes the address of the object dash. A. Explicitly, explicitly. B. Implicitly, implicitly. C. Explicitly, implicitly. D. Implicitly, explicitly. Correct answer, C. Pass by address uses the explicit address passing to the function, whereas pass by reference implicitly passes the address of the object. How to overcome the problem arising due to destruction of temporary object? A. Overloading insertion operator. B. Overriding functions can be used. C. Overloading parenthesis, or returning object. D. Overloading assignment operator, and defining copy constructor. Correct answer, D. The problem can be solved by overloading the assignment operator, to get the values that might be getting returned while the destructor free the dynamic memory. Defining copy constructor can help us to do this in even simpler way. How many objects can be returned at once? A. Only 1. B. Only 2. C. Only 16. D. As many as required. Correct answer, A. Like any other value, only one object can be returned at once. The only possible way to return more than one object is to return address of an object array. But that again comes under returning object pointer. If an object is passed by address, will be constructor be called? A. Yes, to allocate the memory. B. Yes, to initialize the members. C. No, values are copied. D. No, temporary object is created. Correct answer, C. A copy of all the values is created. If the constructor is called, there will be a compile time error or memory shortage. This happens because each time a constructor is called, it try to call itself again, and that goes infinite times. What is reference to an object? A. It is address of an object. B. It is address of where the variables and methods of object are stored. C. It is pointer having address of an object. D. It is address of only variables and not the methods of an object. Correct answer, B. Reference indicates the address where the object's variables and methods are stored. It is not actual address of the object. This is done to directly use the variables and methods whenever required. How many objects can be referenced from the same variables? A. One at a time. B. Many at a time. C. Many using array name. D. 7 at max at same time. Correct answer, A. There should not be any confusion in how many references can be made from a single variable. A single variable can only point to one object at a time. Even if it's an array, the name of the array is used and is considered one object name only, representing first array element. Invoking a method on a particular object is sending a message to that object. A. Different from. B. Same as. C. Somewhat similar. D. Part of. Correct answer, B. The methods invoked on a particular object is same as sending a message with same values to that object. Message would contain values in a particular format that can be used by the object. And calling a method would be just another way to do the same task. Where is the memory allocated for the objects? A. HDD. B. Cache. C. RAM. D. ROM. Correct answer, C. The memory for the objects, or any other data, is allocated in RAM initially. This is while we run a program, all the memory allocation takes place in some RAM segments. Arrays in heap and local members in stack, etc. Which of the following function can be used for dynamic memory allocation of objects? A. Malloc. B. Calloc. C. Create. D. Malloc and calloc. Correct answer, D. The malloc function can be used to allocate dynamic memory for objects. Function calloc can also be used. These functions differ in the way they allocate memory for objects. What is the type of elements of array of objects? A. Class. B. Void. C. String. D. Null. Correct answer, A. The class itself is the type of elements of array of objects. All the objects possess the same properties. Like any other primitive data type, the objects are of their respective class type. How the objects of array can be denoted? A. Indices. B. Name. C. Random numbers. D. Alphabets. Correct answer, A. Different objects in an array can be denoted with the indices of array. The first object is denoted by 0. And the further indices denote the next objects in sequence of array. Abstract classes can dash instances. A. Never have. B. Always have. C. Have array of. D. have pointer of. Correct answer, A. When an abstract class is defined, it won't be having the implementation of at least one function. This will restrict the class to have any constructor. When the class doesn't have constructor, there won't be any instance of that class. The abstract classes in Java can A. Implement constructors. B. Can't implement constructor. C. Can implement only unimplemented methods. D. Can't implement any type of constructor. Correct answer, A. The abstract classes in Java can define a constructor, even though instance can't be created. But in this way, only during constructor chaining, constructor can be called. When instance of concrete implementation class is created, it's known as constructor chaining. A template class can have dash A. More than one generic data type. B. Only one generic data type. C. At most two data types. D. Only generic type of integers and not characters. Correct answer, A. The template class can support more than one data type. The only thing is to add all the data types required in a list separated by comma within template specification, which is the most significant feature that arises by using template classes. A. Code readability. B. Ease in coding. C. Code reusability. D. Modularity in code. Correct answer, C. The code reusability is the feature that becomes more powerful with the use of template classes. You can generate a single code that can be used in variety of programming situations. What are the two specializations of input-output template classes in C++? A. 16-bit character and wide characters. B. 8-bit character and wide characters. C. 32-bit character and locale characters. D. 64-bit characters and locale characters. Correct answer, B. The input-output specialization is made with wide character and 8-bit characters. Wide characters are used to store the characters that might take more than 1 byte of space in memory, or any size that is different from the one that the machine is using. Which among the following is inherited by a derived class from base class? A. Data members only. B. Member functions only. C. All the members except private members. D. All the members of base class. Correct answer, C. The class inheriting another class inherits all the data members and member functions that are not private. This is done to ensure the security features with maximum flexibility. How many types of inheritance are supported in C++ for deriving a class? A. 1. B. 2. C. 3. D. 4. Correct answer, C. There are 3 types of inheritance possible: private inheritance, protected inheritance, and public inheritance. The inheritance defines the access specifier to be used with the inherited members in the derived class. If a class is being derived using more than 2 base classes, which inheritance will be used? A. Single. B. Multilevel. C. Hierarchical. D. Multiple. Correct answer, D. The statement given is the definition of multiple inheritance with respect to the derived class. The concept can be illustrated with many other samples, but the main aspects are base class and derived class only. How many classes can be derived from a derived class? A. Only one. B. At most one. C. At least one. D. As many as required. Correct answer, D. When a class is to be derived from another derived class, the derived class behaves as a normal base class, hence there are no restriction on how many class can be derived from a derived class. The derived class again behaves as a normal superclass. A base class is also known as dash class. A. Basic. B. Inherited. C. Super. D. Sub. Correct answer, C. A class which is being derived by other classes is called a superclass. This concept is clearly used in Java, as we call the functions of a base class by using the keyword super as required. Which among the following must be in a base class? A. Data members. B. Member functions. C. Access specifiers. D. Nothing. Correct answer, D. Even a class that doesn't have any members can be a base class. It is not mandatory to have any member or attribute in base class. If a base class is inherited from another class and then one class derives it, which inheritance is shown? A. Multiple. B. Single. C. Hierarchical. D. Multilevel. Correct answer, D. If a base class is inherited from another class, single inheritance is shown. But when one more class inherits the derived class, this becomes a multilevel inheritance. How many data members can a class contain? A. 27. B. 255. C. 1024. D. As many as required. Correct answer, D. Any class can have as many data members as required. The only restriction that may arise is when there is not enough memory space. This gives flexibility to define a class with best properties possible. Which data members can be inherited but are private to a class? A. Private. B. Protected. C. Protected and static. D. Privately inherited. Correct answer, B. Static members' inheritance also depends on the type of specifier they have. Only the protected members can be inherited, but remain private to class. If static members are defined in private access, they won't be allowed for inheritance. Size of a class is A. Sum of the size of all the variables declared inside the class. B. Sum of the size of all the variables along with inherited variables in the class. C. Size of the largest size of variable. D. Classes doesn't have any size. Correct answer, D. Classes doesn't have any size. Actually, the size of object of the class can be defined. That is done only when an object is created and its constructor is called.